Muted. Great,
Nope.
wonderful. I still do the exact same thing every time. Hello and welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody.
Everybody, have a good couple weeks. I know it's been a few weeks since we finished up and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, doing well.
Welcome to the post-SoonerCon stream. I hope some of you got out there, were able to see it. If not, we missed you. I know Miss Olivia and Colin both made it. It was great to see them on Friday evening for Drinks and Dragons. Hope you had fun.
Very impressed we didn't lose.
Yeah, that was probably the closest I've seen to a TPK in that event.
Feel really good. The Dice Fairy revived me at the last minute. I revived a whole table, and we kept going down again.
Mm-hmm.
It was very exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, so the great event if you haven't gotten to do it. So I actually got to be part of the cast this time.
Ooh.
A lot of fun.
One
Got to
half
play
of an. So excuse me.
Two-headed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, two-headed Etten. So I was the smart one.
Yeah, buddy. That's why they didn't let you roll dice.
So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. So if you got out there, thanks for coming. If not, hopefully, and we've lost Colin. Wonderful.
No.
And there he is again.
Whole Streamlabs here.
Yep. Speaking of, I've sent a message to someone that works with them, trying to figure out what is going on with that. So
Very good.
seeing if they can get those issues addressed for us, because that is rather annoying to drop you guys 3 or 4 times a streaming session. So anyway, but yeah, no, sorry we missed you last week, but we're here this week, and we're gonna do a wrap-up session, kind of talk through, different parts of the campaign that we just finished, some backstories where your inspiration for characters came through, and any other questions that you have for other members of the party that things didn't get answered or wanted to be addressed, or even things for me that I can address, hopefully. Maybe. We'll see. Not everything. But yeah. But just get some of those reactions of different things that happened, and just kind of have that little bit of wrap up and into that session before we get ready to go into part 3 of Mysteries of Beatrix here in hopefully a couple of weeks. Maybe, yeah. Next week is a holiday weekend, so probably gonna take that one off and enjoy some times with family. But other than that, hopefully we can be back in 2 weeks with that. So we'll go into real quick thanking our sponsors, Pro Laser Cuts and SD Way Gaming, and then we'll dive right into kind of how everything transpired and different things of that nature. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Bye.
The Red Dirt D&D podcast is brought to you by Pro Laser Cuts. The Oklahoma company provides pre-made and customizable design laser cut dice towers, tokens, and more, developed by a gamer for gamers, and now available to enhance your tabletop game. Pro Laser Cuts products can be found at many Oklahoma City area game stores, local events, and now available online at prolasercuts.com. That's laser and cuts with a Z, Pro Laser Cuts. And by SD Way Gaming, where dice goblins unite. Our friends at SD Way Gaming celebrate the beautiful dice players handpick for their games and splendor. SD Way Gaming has expanded to include many tabletop gaming varieties, accessories, and similar fun necessities to include a service for your dice addiction. You can shop for a variety of products at sdwaygaming.com or find SD Way Gaming on Facebook.
We should
And we're back.
Uh-oh.
We should unionize.
Yeah.
We're unionizing now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
against
you don't pay us enough.
Wonderful. Well, let's start first with where did your background inspiration for your character come from? And I'm going to start with the one that I have questioned from the word go, Murphy.
Hmm.
So, the approach to Murphy, the first idea was mainly I wanted to play someone the opposite of Athanasius. Straight from appearance to personality and just demeanor. Athanasius was super charismatic and just kind of led conversations and stuff, but I kind of went the opposite direction with Murphy, being a little more disruptional. And where Athanasius was very monotone, all black, everything. I wanted somebody with a lot of bright, unserious color. And Athanasius spoke with kind of like a voice of a refinement in that way. He was very like portrayed himself as being like upper class, and then I thought the opposite of that was just like this old curmudgeon out in the swamp somewhere. And so just like his whole approach to everything, I was just like, what would Shrek say in this situation? But instead of a really bad Scottish accent, it would just be just a real thick.
Was it Shrek or Donkey that you emulated more of?
I would say, I don't know. That I was thinking Shrek. Yeah, but yeah, we definitely pepper and a little donkey there.
Yeah,
just
definitely. Awesome. Well, it was fun seeing him develop and his different quirks and mannerisms. Probably one of my favorite scenes from the campaign for you was your sending home to your significant other.
Yeah, I didn't really. That was the first time I really thought about who those NPCs were and what they're going to be. I was like, all right, we'll just see where this takes us.
Yeah,
I have 25 words to develop this relationship.
Yeah, you did a good job.
What's the most entertaining way I can make this happen?
Yeah. So, same question for Zahad. Where did you come up with this character of Zahad?
Well, very similar to Corey. I wanted to play the complete opposite of Buster. And I wanted to make sure we had funding. We were going over Abkirk, and of course, Abkirk is the first city we played in. For the couple sessions we did way back when, I was like, sick. That's a pretty cool city. Maybe I'm from that city. Maybe I helped develop the city. Hey, who's the ruler of the city? Oh, this semi-all-powerful, semi-omniscient, celestial dual being? Oh. They have kids? They do? Oh. I'll be one of those. I wanted to in a way, and I'm still not sure if I like the fact that I did this, but I want it to be someone that moves the plot forward and that buys people treats and knows things, because in every game, there's always going to be checks for lore. I want to know stuff. Zahad with his extra D6 cantrip, extra D6 class ability for intelligence checks, that was really hard.
Yeah.
It's going to feel really weird for the next game if I don't have plus, 2d6 plus 11 at advantage for a history check. It's going to be really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my inspiration overall.
Wonderful.
Thoughts.
Yeah. And simple. Where did Nasara come from?
From that one shot we were talking about. I don't. That was so long ago. I don't really remember what first. I would like UNT. Let's go UNT. That does not like being a UNT specifically. I remember that one of our other friends, Charles, we kind of built up the backstory together because he was my little brother and I was his older sister, and we were figuring out, where did we come from, what were our folks like, what was our situation, and he was really wanting something to rebel against, and so we came up with the secret society with your help, and
you did that?
well, Andrew had
The society already existed.
yeah.
She just got to play.
I fleshed out some of the details, like the shepherds and all that fun stuff. So I came up with the walk always with the gods and keep your eyes on the horizon, and then I wanted her to have a pretty easy flaw in her self-doubt and her vanity, because I feel like I was going through a rut at that time where I was playing characters that were not, I guess they didn't have I was being too Mary Sue, okay? I didn't have a clear defined flaw at that time, and so I was like, let's go with something super easy and super basic. We'll just give her some vanity issues, and hey, maybe that plays into the fact that she's a UNT. Maybe she wasn't always, and maybe this is a big change for her, and her dad's a Leonin and her mom's a dwarf. Hair is really important. UNT don't necessarily have to have hair because of the scale thing. Let's make her obsess over that. There we go. That's a good flaw. So, why a snake? I don't know, because I was watching a lot of snake discovery at the time.
The one in Oregon, right?
I don't think it's Oregon. I think it's
Dakota.
Minnesota. Don't you know? But I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure there's only one snake discovery in North America. So, anyway, Michael, I think it's your turn.
Yep.
I'd kind of always wanted to play the clerical knowledge domain cleric is really something that derivative. Just the idea of just being able to channel divinity and just, I'm good at this one particular thing for now, and I'm really good at it, and it's good at it because God has given me that, my deity has given me that gift or that inspiration. And I think really my idea was to play him is kind of the know-it-all, like new things, but the dice and the way that the narrative played out kind of went in a different direction, as it does often with characters that I throw together. It's oh well, there's a one inspiration. Oh no, there's another one. Well, okay, I guess this is just how things are.
We always believed in you.
So no, he grew as things went on. Like he started life with the realization that maybe obsessively just going after knowledge wasn't the best thing in life. And
yeah, definitely.
Why a water elemental or a water ganassi? Because Jintachin is wet?
because
he wanted to be blue.
Blue.
You're using that as the patented excuse for like both my characters so far. And, yeah, okay, it's fine. They've both been blue. I'm guilty as charged.
No, I think you, when we were talking through your story, I think you picked where you were going to be from first.
Yeah,
with everything, and
then I chose like from the demographics.
Yeah. So, because one of the things that I do for the players is, as I'm building the cities, I give them kind of the breakdowns of kind of what the demographics are, and so if they're gonna be from there, hey, these are the races that you're gonna see the most of. It's not saying that there aren't others there. It's just these are the predominant based on the civilization that's there, which sometimes helps determine if they're looking for something specific. So my next question to each of you, and I don't care who answers first, what was the first shock you got in this campaign? What was the first thing that happened that wasn't what you thought was going to happen?
That's my answer.
Yep. Go ahead, Michael.
I think the first combat, it's like, oh, this is not traditional. Like, no, this is things with a twist, and especially the I hate sometimes hand, as I think we termed it. Like, oh, all right, well, cool. That's
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Outside of the sometimes hand, going down the rope into giant swamp, open skies, pocket like underneath kind of the mountain area, like just the vastness. I was not expecting that. What about you, Corey?
Yeah, I was about to say similarly with the with the swamp, just not really like when you described everything. I wasn't sure if like we went through like a planar, like another plane, like the plane of ooze or something like that, or just not really knowing, not expecting the sudden terrain change.
Right.
And being kind of caught unawares.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys were basically in a torrential downpour, and you had to get up on top of kind of this mountainous area to be safe from that, and then to dive down into a swamp.
After we defeated the people with the parasites on their necks.
Yeah, after Zahad blew one to smithereens.
That is one regret I don't think I'll ever have, is Zahad's little level 1 spell plus as a bonus action. Again, what a spell. Because it's in the cleric and the wizard spell list, it's a bonus action. It lasts that turn, specifically during your turn. After that, it's gone. How on earth would you make that useful otherwise? I don't know. Just that became such a cool, just fun Zahad thing. I walk up and I make him explode. Yeah, I liked it.
Definitely. So Melt, question for you specifically. how did you feel the first time trying to get to the library in Abkirk?
I ah I that oh gosh, like the player, like just I'm like, okay, I'm not. I was like, I don't. It was probably a little bit of my like struggle with that thrown through, and it kind of bled into Melt. It's the I don't understand what it is you're expecting of me, and like what. And Melt was like this: the stairs aren't stairs, and how do I do the stairs? And, but no, once I just cast spells. That's how this place works. It's magic, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Yeah. How about the getting everybody together? How did you feel? I know it was a little bit different than last time. Last time kind of was a random amalgamation of you all just kind of being in the place and a thing happening.
And then the deer attacked.
Yeah. This one is a little bit more of a your call to action was done beforehand, except for Nasara. Nasara was kind of forced into hers. But the rest of you, how did you to feel? Did it change how your character interacted with everybody there? Did it you know, how did those first interactions go because of that change in that?
Yeah, you kind of got the like. This is like, especially from like my end, this is like a mission, a task that I've been given to kind of try and buy my way back into good graces. Like I had my own like somewhat selfish, but a reason to be there.
Right. Which nobody in the party knew early on as to all that, but it came up quickly with the sometimes hands.
Well, Zahad, Colin as Zahad, did get told some information about all of you guys before the game started. I had my dossiers. But I don't know. Colin felt super uncomfortable and out of place during the first few sessions. Like, aha, oh no, I've put myself in the leader role. Oh no. Which turned out not to be so much a leader role as just I kind of fund stuff and I know things, which turned me more into Gandalf, and I loved that.
Yeah, that was an interesting. See, that was an interesting balance you like struck there.
Yeah. Oh, well, the Zahad, I figured, celestial descent from this super being, probably old, probably seen a lot of stuff, probably knows a lot, probably forgotten a lot. And my
Yeah, so
wife
he's probably forgotten more than he's known.
Yeah.
Remember, yeah.
So my wife is the one that came up with that originally. Like, hey, what if he doesn't know how to tie his shoes? Like, oh no, that's great. Doorknobs, nothing.
Yeah.
Stairs, forget about it.
It's got people for that. Yeah, no.
Yeah. It's people for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought I like the idea, and he was never a powerful individual. He's the weakest of his siblings. He's just smart and wants to do good.
Murphy, how did you feel with that being called from the beginning?
Oh, well, I mean, it's the call to adventure. You have to accept it to play.
Yeah.
Like there's just trying to generate a scenario to where he will answer the call. So, like, part of his backstory is like the glass statue of Nissa, his little idol, his family worship. Like, yeah, someone stealing something, so especially something valuable.
Right.
from his community would probably spur him to venture out and show
Right.
these city slickers where to go.
Right.
Yeah, just being the guy knowing where to go and how to get there was it's very strong party role.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
definitely.
Yeah, it's you know your purpose. You know when your time is to shine and stuff. And it's just about leaving enough open space there for everybody else to
Right.
do their own thing. Like Zahad knowing things,
Mhm.
but he doesn't know how to get there. Like he doesn't know where north is. He just says it's.
I have people for that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I had a whole Magic City that would just take me wherever I fancied, like the moment I thought of it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that is exactly what that city did.
that's why Murphy hated that place.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, definitely. I remember that in the first couple of episodes, you were just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So, Simple, you kind of had a different call to action than the rest of the group. You were kind of inscripted.
Blackmailed.
How do you
Lightly.
Yeah. How did you rectify that in order to accept that call as well to go on this?
Wait. Did Zahad steal the idol? Was I extorted into joining the group?
I mean,
No, probably not.
Never mind. Go ahead. Go back.
Probably.
So, I mean, yes, there was some blackmail, but also it didn't take very long for Zahad and Nasara to like figure out that they were very much cut from the same cloth. The people who have the ability to help have a responsibility to help. I remember that one of the very first sessions, Nasara gave some emboldened speech about needing to help wherever help is needed, and Zahad was like, that is exactly right, that is entirely what we stand for and why we're here. And so while at the very beginning and from the outside it was a little dubious looking, I really think that it took no time at all to figure out, like, for Nasara to naturally like trust the group and want to help them despite the blackmail, the incentive that was given.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Yeah. So then the next bit that we had was the sometimes hands, that I think was kind of the first real issue for the party. That you realize that you guys are fighting some things that are weird. Melt, how did that make you feel, having that your body basically fading in and out of existence?
Yeah, Melt was not okay with that. That's just no. I like all of my things the way they are, and
Mhm.
I don't know that he was necessarily prepared for that eventuality.
Yeah. Murphy, how do you feel that set you guys up to kind of bond quickly?
Well, I think it was a problem that none of us had like the immediate solution to. Like we had to go seek out help or figure out a way to stop this, and I think that was a really good way for us to kind of explore our different options. That led us back towards Melt's family, get a little early insight on that whole relationship.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen then. Just
Yeah.
FYI. that transponder wasn't supposed to be until, you guys got to Druntachin, later. and Melt, you didn't say anything as they were saying, "Hey, we're going to Druntachin."
You fix your magic hands.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, his misunderstanding was that just Ahad knew everything, all about it, and that this was like Zahad's like, oh well, let's go here, and he had a plan for that. And, yeah, that was like probably the first misconception of the game, where he thought Zahad was probably knew more than reasonably. Yeah.
Hmm.
It was fine.
It was obviously in the dossier.
It was
Yeah,
all according to
yeah.
plan. Calculated risk.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. It all worked out. Plus the like surprise that, oh hey, he knows mom and dad. Like
yeah. No, I would have thought you would have put that together with your backstory of your parents being that high up.
I'd say that Melt was probably removed enough from that he might have known about it if he sat down and thought about it in an intellectual fashion, but I don't know that it necessarily just dawned on him.
Right. No, that's fair. I mean, there is something different to be said from, knowing something of, oh yeah, that makes sense, versus the actual realization of, oh crap, he knows my parents.
Yeah, the implications.
Yeah, of that. Murphy, how did you feel when you realized some of Melt's backstory there?
Ooh. Yeah, that was kind of getting just the idea of how that whole relationship worked was, man, that was a big bummer. Like, oh, that sucks for Melt.
Yeah, you made yourself you're the least favorite child.
Yeah.
Ew, never do that again.
Nah, it's hard, especially when like you have these NPCs that you don't really have any relationship or connection to. They're now accosting your party mate and like,
and then finding out
blocking
it's a
stuff up.
sibling.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
She got better.
Not knowing if are we gonna have to kill your sibling now? Right, like right off the bat, like,
Yeah, what was that, like episode 6?
yeah.
It
Like
was like
we were still
2
like,
or 3.
yeah,
No, that was like 3.
Yes.
It's like, okay,
No,
here's
we had a-
everyone. Episode 2, Magic Hands. Oops, level number 3, because I was gone for 2. I came back to Magic Hands. I was like,
Hold
that was
on.
episode 3. I'm fairly certain.
I have notes for this.
Yeah, one second.
I like. In fact, I think the like episode title like gives that one away, at least to a certain extent.
In hindsight.
Excuse me. It was 1 and 2. 3 is the one I missed, and then 4 I came back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we ended 4 as you were going through the portal, I think, and picked up 5 with Melt's family.
It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, it got better.
yeah, it got better. We fixed it.
Definitely. Okay, so we finished with that. What was... So you guys are now trekking out in your fun automobile, Zahad, that you've created.
I didn't make it.
Yeah, that was a joint effort between Melt, Nasara, and our wonderful absent emissary.
The magic car? No, my daughter made that.
The cart? Didn't we?
Yeah, the wagon.
No. We're talking the car.
Sorry, I
wagon,
skipped ahead.
yeah.
I skipped ahead. Sorry.
You're fine.
I forgot about. Oh yeah, we can't take that through the teleporter. What?
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah, no. As you guys are moving through, and you discover this swamp, and get a glimpse at.
You skipped the part about the parasites.
Yeah. Okay.
We can skip them. Keep going.
Not important to the plot at all.
just overall the
It's
most
the bad
part of
bugs.
Yeah.
Next page.
What did you guys think about the parasites? The
Invisible
first
thing that can-
interaction.
Invisible thing that we can't see or sense, and it can take over your body. Fine.
Ew.
Yeah, it was fine.
Well, they weren't invisible. The only one that was invisible to start with was on Nasara. The rest of them, they were hooded and covered. Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah, no.
It gave, I don't know. It gave everything like a whole like invasion of the body snatchers
Mhm.
vibe.
Yeah.
I was really afraid we were gonna have to like find them inside the city or something like that, because that would have been a nightmare.
A nightmare.
Of course, there aren't any in the city. I know where you live.
Yeah.
That we know of.
So yeah, that was definitely an interesting, and then the creature disappearing from Nasara when it latched on. What was everybody's first thought on that? Because it was definitely different. Because I remember describing it is after you had the first one, like you see something on its neck, you know, they're trying to cover this thing up, and then when it hit Nasara, you see it attack her, and then it just disappears.
Zahad, if I remember right, did a history check as he does and didn't know anything. It was like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Colin was like, well, Jessica should start rolling some D6s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then her never looking roughed up, even though she was.
Oh, that became such an in-game joke. We brought that up like every time. Like, wow, it's sweaty. I'm covered in bugs, but Nasara looks fine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I think it was after the parasite had like attached to her. That's when like we're like, oh, maybe her appearance is not what it appears to be. I mean, maybe she's not what she appears to be. And then, yeah, and then each iteration after that was like, yep, she's definitely under disguise self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got when did that happen? Was that episode 8 with the parasites after the everything at Dratachan?
So that would have been episode 6-ish. Because 7 is when you guys went down the ladder.
More than 5 episodes of you don't know. You can't see me. I feel like that's okay. That's not the best, but it's okay.
It was session 5 where we talked to the people. I have their names here still, and what they look like, and their hopes and dreams.
Mhm.
Shame.
Before
That
you
were
hit them with the
shattered.
magic missile.
Yeah. Oh well.
They're dead now.
Yeah. So this next one is for Zahad. So your character was developed around knowing things. In chapters 9 and 10, when you guys discover the Horizon Walkers, how did you feel as Zahad knowing that this thing was out there that you knew nothing about?
Unexpected, but not surprised. Of course, there are secret societies. What's this one about? Was I think the vibes Zahad had first up.
Right.
Want to know whether they were good or bad. Of course, the aspects they say they are, that we understand them to be.
Mhm.
Is that true? Is that not? I mean, we come to learn that it's mostly true for the most part, minus one lady in a tavern with really good pie and beer. But
That we know of.
That we know of, right?
I mean,
so they are like a neutral good society as far as I can tell.
Mhm.
They want to do good, doesn't matter if it's necessarily legal or illegal route. Zahad was a fan of, the heart of it, but I didn't like how things got done.
Right. I can understand that. Um,
So traditionally, I still view Zahad as like a lawful good character,
right.
despite because Colin very much not. I'm all up to for shenanigans.
Mhm.
But man, it's so hard to rein that in sometimes, and for that I do apologize.
Simple. How was it wrestling with basically the idea of conscripting your group to help?
Well, I mean, like I said, at that point, they had pretty much earned Nasara's trust as far as like for them, like most part, they're gonna do the right thing for the world. I don't know about that Melt guy. He's probably gonna write a tell-all book, and I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with him. But we'll worry about that later. We got big problems right now, and I need help. And the more that they knew, the more that they could help with, because
I mean, I think the situation was, as an outsider, it's like, okay, they're already on the right path. If I give them a boost, they'll do it faster, right?
yeah. And I'm fairly certain that like there's some. I think at the time Nassar had made some reference to some like part of their dogma that aligned with it's okay to conscript people as long as they're like they just know that they've been adopted. They cannot, like, once you know, you can't unknow. And I'm pretty sure Nasara had that conversation with them and was like, I'm going to tell you something, but I can't not tell you this. Like, I can't take it back. Once it's out, it's there, but it's going to help us like figure out this stuff and possibly save the world. So here we go.
Yeah. I remember you wrestled with what would the elders think in this situation,
Well,
and were they going to come in and just wipe your party out?
yes, and that was also a concern because Nasara at that point is technically not exiled, but not one of them. She failed uh, her test. She didn't rise and become a Horizon Walker like her mother and father. She was born in, but she didn't achieve success in her trial. So she didn't really feel confident making a call on inviting other people into this knowledge when she herself had felt unworthy of it. But I think again, Colin hit the nail on the head. She's a neutral good character, so it wasn't maybe not the right thing to do by like the dogma of her group, but it was the right thing to do for fixing the situation they were in. So that's what she did.
Yeah. Melt, how did you feel knowing that this secret society was basically right there underneath your nose at this point?
It was one of those like, oh hey, this is like the secret club, the little like appendice organization that you read in the book, but you just didn't necessarily, you just like, pshaw, that's just like they put that there in the book, and it's like, oh, that's a thing. And especially with him having like the books on the Horizon Walkers, like, oh, hey, there's something here. And yeah, he was probably a little bit caught off guard, but it's like, this is something that I really want to know about.
Was that you more as a character, or do you think it was the knowledge driven from his calling?
Probably a little bit of both.
Awesome. When you guys got to the town that you were going to investigate, the whole reason the group was put together initially, and people are missing from town. What was your first thoughts on that?
Parasites.
Parasites.
Parasites, duh.
Parasites, duh.
And who in town can we actually trust?
Yeah,
Not the bartender.
who didn't get
Find out.
brain slugged and turned into an enemy, and then now they're back in town acting like one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be fair, Melt, you failed like 4 saves.
I did that again. Back to the like.
Really good
Sometimes the dice just told the story, and I was along for the ride. That was
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah.
That was very much one of them.
It didn't help that Murphy and Emissary all gave you their pie.
Yeah. I was helped
Wait,
along
they
the
did?
path. Yes, they did.
Oh, guy.
Because it wasn't going to be as big as it was, and then he continued to fail and fail, and they kept giving him more without knowing why he was making these rolls.
And now that I think about it, I never got my dwarven root bake. Dude.
It's still sitting there. It's in that little cubby for takeouts, you know?
Yeah, it's in that to-go corner.
It's still there. It's re-mushroomified.
Ooh, extra flavors.
Yeah.
So after this, you guys kind of discuss where you're going to go to kind of look. I know I'd given you several options going up into the mountains to check on the Dragonborn, out to the dwarfs, or the place that people had gone and never returned from. All of these groups haven't been coming to the town like they should have been. Do you guys remember how you settled on choosing to go to the mine first that was told to have nothing there?
Well, I think it was
Wasn't
the insistence that there was nothing there that made it very like we should go
Didn't the
look.
blacksmith also say something about that mine? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think everybody said, "Oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing
Yeah.
there. There's nothing there."
Yeah. I think that's the fishiest thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially right before we had the encounter with the parasites and knew they were kind of had infiltrated elsewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then at this point, tragedy falls the group. How did that affect your character when Kieran sacrificed himself to basically save Sahad? Yes, I know it was the figmented, Aiden.
Out.
Aiden,
Unlike it.
unfortunately,
Bad.
had to bow out of this part of the campaign due to real life, and those things happen. But the story had to, continue, and he became kind of a plot piece with his character.
I say that just like a movie, if they die off screen, they're not actually dead, was my understanding the whole time.
Mm.
And then we saw him again. I was like, ah! But from Zod's point of view, oh yeah, super ungood. Negative infinity, not having a good day. Pour one out for the homies.
Yeah. Simple. How about you?
It didn't make me like. I feel bad. I felt for Kieran and for especially like once we started exploring Juntachin more and learned more about his backstory, just like how little we knew about our comrade in arms, but he died the noble death of, giving the ultimate sacrifice for people he cared about. There is no better way to die. He died with honor and glory and a hero. So, like, if there were, like, everyone's got to die sometime, and that was, I mean, it was really sad that it happened, but I mean, the Horizon Walkers, they train their whole lives to fight, to die that hero's death. Like, not in a, I mean, you don't go out to battle wanting to die, obviously, but
Speak
it's
for yourself.
it's an eventuality. It's
Right.
a fate that is taught to them from a young age, and it is profoundly sad but honorable. And so it didn't destroy her, like, emotionally, but I think she felt more of his absence when we went to Juntachin and we learned more about his backstory, and we befriended Teardrop and learned about her entanglements, and because Kieran didn't actually open up a whole lot in the short time that we were graced with his presence.
Yeah, I mean, we mainly knew about like his entanglement with like his incident with the dragon that cost him his former party. That was the big trauma of his backstory that we kind of sussed out. But we didn't learn
Mhm.
anything else until after
Right.
it passed.
That was after we killed him the second time, right? No, just the first.
Melt, having a little bit more connection with him, how did that affect your character?
He was. It's the. You have the insight. He had the insight that, like, where does Kieran had come from, and it's like, oh geez, like, and the just the traveling with him, it was kind of a.
Uh-oh, did we lose him?
It's like, I know his connections, huh?
Yeah, you kind of stumbled out there for a second.
You lagged
so-
out.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Just also coupled with the, I know he's connected to people that back home.
Mhm.
And it's hitting me, but he also had the realization that this is going to hit them.
Mhm.
And I think in that moment, it's he's like, I need to be the best storyteller I can to try and, like, take home what has just happened to home, to the people that had more connections to Kieran than he did.
Yeah. So then we finished kind of this arc, and you guys save the baby dragon. Yay!
Yes, save the child. I have
Yeah.
that written down.
Yep.
Kind of hoping we get a dragon mascot for the party. But
Would have been great. We could have just
Yeah.
killed the mom and be like, "This is our baby
animal
now."
companion dragon. Yeah.
And then you
Next
kind of get
campaign.
a little bit more of Nasara's background as the Horizon Walkers show up.
Yeah, definitely realized how important the dragons were
Mhm.
on that one.
Yeah. and get to see a little bit of Nasara's background. Kind of the first point that you realize that yes, she's part of this, but she's not.
Oops.
You meet her ex-betrothed.
Weird
So-
situationship, yo.
I still.
Oh yeah, I was
I
gone
ha-
for that one.
I haven't. I still don't know if he's a bad guy or a victim of circumstance.
Let God sort him out. Can't be a traitor if he's dead.
Yeah. No,
Again,
I
that's
know.
Colin, not Zahad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, you all, at one point, after you get moved over, to the other node in the area that you're got to check out on, you weren't supposed to go there. You were supposed to go back to the swamp.
Yeah.
And then you end up at this other node in the middle of a fight. And every single one of you pretty much pegged Nasara's ex-fiance to be
Yeah, we'll
bad
just
guy.
take the portal. It'll be super easy. I'm just sitting there in the rain, no umbrella, going, I really don't like that guy.
Yeah.
In that instance when that happened, what was going through your mind as you're now in the middle of another fight with weird creatures from basically another plane
And sharks.
and sharks that are ripping people to shreds?
Yep, I remember it. I remember thinking, man, I wish I could counterspell that ability he has. I was thinking, man, all these people in the water already. They didn't even come with us.
Mm-hmm.
I just really wanted to make a shark my friend. And then
Maybe next game.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
That's okay.
Is that going to be an option for that character?
I was probably not, but I don't know. I like trying to figure out how to use what the DM has set up against him, and I was able to do it in that last fight, but not in this fight.
Yeah.
I wanted to turn the sharks against him, but nope.
Yeah, you actually ended up everybody seeing Nasara for the first time. The true Nasara.
Yeah.
Hat came off, right?
Yeah.
No,
Went
this
down.
before she had a hat.
Yeah.
She went unconscious.
Mm-hmm. And it dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody said anything to her about it.
Nope.
Yeah.
She obviously didn't want to tell us. We were
Yeah,
giving her a
that-
little time, her own
Mhm.
time.
Much
Last
respect.
time I brought it. When I brought up something, I might have gotten close to fireballed. So
Oh, he did
He
get
was
fireballed.
Goodbye, Zahad. We knew you well.
Indeed.
Oh, he's back.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, gotta get him back on the stream. And he's back.
I remember thinking, oh man, we're going to die. Oh, there are also civilians here. Shame. But then again, Zahad's like, oh no, this is terrible. We have to save these people. I don't think Colin should play a lawful good character anymore. It's very hard. It's very difficult.
Sounds a little exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you guys find out that it's deep underground again and have to walk up all those steps.
Oh, bam!
Got him!
Bye.
Yeah, I hated the stairs.
Yeah.
That's why I flew. Hey, buddy.
Welcome back.
And back on stream. All right.
We.
Yep. But yeah, then you get to deal with basically the city that deals with the dead.
I feel like they're like really like strong customs agents, right? Well, you
Mhm.
gotta have your bags documented. This one doesn't even have a seal.
Mhm.
He doesn't get to move on. Sorry, guys. Oops. Dad doesn't get to move on because we forgot to put on the seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the wrong paperwork. That seems really rough and very busy.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's the last stop before sending them off to the South Pole.
We were there very briefly.
Mhm.
Yeah, we bargained for passage, remember?
Yes, with a ship from Kelabumik. And then we learned about the Great Water.
Mhm.
We're like, wow, I've seen water before.
Not
Yeah.
that much. Not that much at all.
And at this point, you guys are headed to Druntachin for the funeral of Kieran. And Melt going back once again against what he's been told to do. How was that for you?
For Mel, it's more of the like it's the I need to at least tell the story of what happened to Kieran. And as long as he got that done, it's like if they kick me out at that point, it is what it is. But I
Right.
at least need to do this one thing for him and for especially like brother and sister. It's the I know this person meant an awful lot to them.
Mhm.
And like regardless of what the person meant to him in the moment or what attachment he developed to Kieran, it's the I know this means a lot more to them.
What was the most interesting thing about being in Druntachin, Murphy, for you?
Well, I mean, getting around. Oh, John Donaldson. Well, I think we were already. I think I missed the episode we got there, so I was trying to just play keep up with kind of everybody else. But the city on top and the city on under the water was just like my favorite part. I don't know,
Yeah.
just I love.
Cool idea.
Yeah, like Atlantis.
Mhm.
And then
Give
the
me-
city
give
in
me-
the middle.
I need all that.
Mhm.
Every campaign. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a staple. I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
the underwater kingdom.
Well, and
where
what's
you
really
put your
weird
mermen.
is, I've shared with you guys the way I create my maps is I roll dice. And when I drew the map, it was in the middle of a water. That city rolled out into the middle of the water.
Whoops.
It was like, okay, so how do you do this? And it also had magic ore, like a strong magic area. And so I was like, okay, we can do this. We can make this work. And then it just kind of delved from there. Yeah, no, it's very interesting to have that concept of you live above or below, and there's certain things that are in each spot, and the way true Druntachans get back to the city below is they just jump off. They dive from way up above, and and then it was a magic chute going up to the surface. Colin, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to
going
ask
to
you the
say-
same question. So,
I was going to comment because, of course, I missed. I mean, I was. I remember I was sick, so I missed the actual like funeral. But then I came back and I was like, okay, I'm not feeling too great, but I'm pretty much paying attention. Oh, this was Kieran's sword. I went, hey, I might be stupid, but Kieran never used a sword. I let that sit, just cover bases, see if I was wrong. And no one else caught on. I was like, I need to say something right now.
Mhm.
I know Zahad is not there, but it needs to be said right now. And I'm glad I did. Coincidentally, later that same session, I throw imagine a genuinely large, like 36-inch wrench into your engine. You go, hey, those parents over there are shifty. No, dad is shifty.
Mhm.
Brother and his friends are shifty. Sister's
Yeah,
shifty.
get
We
rid
don't
of
even
that.
know that she charmed Asara. I'm like, let's go find mom.
Mhm.
Hey, where's mom? Oh, she's not here? Perfect. Someone I can interrogate and see if I can get some information off of real quick.
Mhm.
Because you're not going to do it at the party or the wake for
Mhm.
your friend. Ugh. I'll do it before, way over there.
Mhm.
How was that for you, Andrew? Of me figuring out some stuff real quick.
It was one of those things that I dangle things out in front of you guys at different points throughout the campaign, with the knowing if they latch onto this, we could go a whole nother direction. Um, I didn't, having watched the party, I didn't feel like anybody else was really going to do it, and then you suddenly start to do it, and I go, okay, so this is the where we're going. So yeah, no, it was interesting in that regard. It wasn't as big of a wrench as you guys going to Druntachin the first time.
Well, you know what they say about sequels, right?
So, but I mean, a lot of times as I'm delving through things and thinking through, a lot of times I also have that question of what else could they do? You know, trying to think for you guys, and I try not to railroad. You know, I mean, this is a very sandboxy. There's a few things that, hey, this is major plot. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna railroad some of those things.
Yes, I mean, certain things will lead to certain things always.
Yep. But otherwise, I try to let you guys have free reign of where you're going and what you're doing.
So, if I could ask you a question again, DM,
Mhm.
Because there's no way this impacts next campaign, and I'm not going to remember this in 3 years when we move on to stage 2. What was the purpose of the subterfuge? What were they doing there? Were they there to kill the squids?
In the funeral?
Yeah, the elemental and her lackeys that I killed.
Mm-hmm.
No, I had them help me kill.
Um,
What were they there for?
So a lot of the portion of the big bad is causing disruption right now. They are causing chaos and in lots of different ways. And they have plans and many different facets of those plans to try to do what they want to do. When one thing doesn't work, they shift. And at this point, your group had already stopped them from taking 2 nodes. Your group single-handedly restored a node that they had already taken over and prevented one from falling. So you kind of had a target on your back.
So
And they knew you would be there for the funeral.
Okay, so they were there just for us specifically.
Not necessarily specifically. You were
They were there
part of
because
it.
of us.
Yes.
Okay,
But you weren't necessarily the whole end goal,
gotcha.
if that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
I
I felt really smart for like months after that. I really
No,
don't.
it was.
And I figured that out. I figured
Mhm.
out 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
I am Zahad.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool.
No,
Oh,
it was
doorknobs? What?
Yeah. No, it was very cool to see you piece those things together. And I like to give little nuggets and tidbits at different points in campaign and weave things throughout. So, some may be multiple campaigns away before they're discovered, but there are pieces and
Spoilers.
things. Yep. Well, that's how a 6 first parter with this campaign goes. A lot of this is setup. This is, getting things ready. So yeah, anybody else have any other questions for anybody? I know we're up to kind of right before a big reveal in this campaign. So just anything else anybody else wants to ask each other or me before we move on to this what I would call the major plot of this arc.
I want to know what happened to Emissary's family.
Yeah. I was going to ask, but he's not here, so I don't know if we should.
Well, I don't know that he knows what happened to his family. That was the whole point.
I want to ask you a different question. Where's Emissary from, and why doesn't he remember anything?
Yeah.
So Emissary is a unique situation. In lore at this point, per other things that I've had going on, he's too advanced of a war machine. You guys that played with me, we kind of had a little bit of a crossover in the last.
Oh, in the chat. Hey, never mind. Let's just figure that out later. It's fine.
Yeah. But anyways, so in our last campaign we did before we came over here, we actually had someone that played a character from my world. That was the first creation of Warforged. And so Emissary playing is technically before that point in time. So, and there goes Melt.
Bam!
And so I personally had to rectify that with the story. And Tim unwittingly helped me a couple of times with those things when he wasn't able to show up, and I gave some hints of some things with his rebooting and reprogramming. Hold on. Oh, hi kiddo.
I'm marking inspiration for next campaign.
Love you, kiddo.
Welcome back.
Right, okay. Putting him back on. 1 second. All right, Michael's back on stream.
Yay! Sorry about that.
No, you're good. And so the thing of what actually has happened with Emissary is he's not in the right time. He's from further on, but because of that, in order to make this happen, things had to be blocked or deleted. And that's why he was constantly rebooting. As I said, unbeknownst to Tim and Emissary, this is how I rectified as things started happening and he was missing some of those sessions that we talked about him rebooting or
Bam!
trying.
Jessica, drop now.
Yep.
Andrew, you're next. Be ready.
If I go, that means everybody goes all at once. But yeah, so that's kind of where I saw his story and his things as I was working through it. So, because his backstory to me told me he went to sleep, and when he woke up, they were all gone. So he got moved as a piece and a pawn to be here, unbeknownst to him.
So the whole village is in the future, or
but if you guys had actually made it there, it wouldn't have existed, or it would have been the very beginning of it.
You confirmed that I knew of the village. It was small, but it was still in like my
Right.
jurisdiction.
It wasn't the same village that he knew of. It would have been different. Mhm.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But you guys never went over there, so we never got to delve into that
I
side.
tried.
I know you did.
We had
You
other
guys had
stuff going
plans.
on.
It just didn't work that way
Yeah.
as the story progressed. And I mean, that's the thing is like, as you guys go through these campaigns, as I said, it's very sandboxy. You guys had plans about how you were going to do things and map, and the story took you a different direction with the time that passed and things that were done. Especially when Simple found out about Kelabumig.
We had decisions
Yeah,
that need to be made.
I know she was very, very torn.
Yeah.
So, but then comes into the big reveal, of this part. There's a new deity coming.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we don't know. There's a new god.
Yeah. We don't even know if the aspect that they are of exists yet or not.
Mhm.
Which that's exciting. I hope it's smell-o-vision.
How did you feel when you found out that the two newest deities that existed weren't twins but triplets?
Again, I don't think you know how babies work. And and you've got one. So that makes me very, very sad for Jess, one. But like generally speaking, they all happen kinda at once.
Oh, they're triplets, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the idea behind this and why there's so much time in between is twofold. One, in our normal world, you can have twins born on different days because there's time in between. And so
but the event that causes the first, there is no break in between the first and the second.
Well, but here's the thing.
necessarily. You don't go home and have the second one.
We have touched on this. Time doesn't exist in the other planes. It does not exist the same. Time is a Beatrix construct. At the moment when Orochi appeared, time began. The rest of the deities are not confined to that. And so that was kind of the concept. And then, okay, how can I make this and make that time frame? And so, yeah. So they were spread out equally for them. Yeah, Melt, how did you feel getting that revelation?
Yeah, that was heavy. It's the this is bad. There's the realization that this is probably going to be a destabilizing factor that's going to lead to bad things.
So I want to call back to part 1 real quick. You guys remember in the first temple, the one Buster ran across the water on?
Mm-hmm.
How many statues were out in front?
Buster can't count.
I don't remember.
I don't know,
Way
Andrew.
too long ago.
There were 3. There was one to Orochi, one to Eri.
So this is
Back in the cave.
Thing.
Back in the cave. Remember when you guys did the religion check? You saw all of the deity symbols and an extra one that you did not recognize.
I assumed it was Kirkon.
I don't remember.
That's not the. We got a name.
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
Welcome.
Guys, hey, I caught it a little bit, but sorry, keep on going.
Yay!
Yeah, good to see y'all. Been a while.
Hi, buddy.
Hey,
Hi. Because we got a name from that first campaign, didn't we?
Pretty sure.
Hmm.
Do you guys not remember that?
of
I
the green
probably
guy.
I probably wasn't there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Colin's gonna probably go back and watch the videos at some point because I think we're off for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little self-imposed homework. Question, Andrew.
hmm
At this point, Zahad already had the crown made. I want to know more about that.
Okay.
It acts as a rod of absorption, and I was never targeted with a single target spell since the crown was made.
hmm Wasn't
What did-
intentional.
Okay.
Hmm.
What's it do? And two, in its inherent magical nature, will her symbol appear once she is given form?
You'll have to find out on that one.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll forget it by then. So that's cool.
But no, it's this. I mean, you made this of Beatrim, you know, the rare magical metal. It is an artifact. We had a couple artifacts in the first campaign, and this was one in this one. This is something that's, you know, to borrow from Critical Role and his Vestiges of Divergence. This is things made in the high realm that'll survive for forever.
Sick.
Yeah. So
Nice.
the reason you got different things as it was going was it was evolving. It was becoming more powerful. Just never got to a further instance of it.
Man, I'm just gonna get targeted with every single target spell from now on. It's gonna be crazy. I'll be like, man, I wish I had that crown.
So Tim, to get a little bit from you, where did Emissary come from? What was the driving force behind him?
Oh goodness, I think we might have talked about him a little bit before, but maybe just in private. But I think I was watching a lot of like Reacher at the time, and Reacher is like a no nonsense kind of guy. And I think I just kept, and you know, you always like the characters who are kind of different, like, you know, like Data from like, so it was a combination of like Data and Reacher, just stuff that I liked. I just kind of put it together. I was also, although I mean, in the end, I think Emissary, we played these guys for such a long time. I felt he was still a little bit one dimensional. You know, it was hard to. I mean, we learned a little bit about him, but he was always supposed to be like the Iron Giant kind of thing. Like he was made for a purpose, and he's just trying to figure out what that purpose is. He's looking for his family, but at the same time, he can do these things. He's not really sure why he can do these, and he's found a purpose with Zahad. But I think there was the Iron Giant. Some Reacher, a big bad guy who really talks very straightforward, no nonsense kind of stuff, and I know you had we had the Warforged. I know, right? Because you had mentioned that the Warforged from the Curse of Strahd, right? So I know that they were kind of in the world and stuff. But yeah, I think the Giants book came out. I'm like, I want to be big and big flames and.
In
all that
my
kind of stuff,
opinion,
so.
always thought Emissary was actually quite mysterious. I thought it was always really neat.
Oh,
you got
well,
this
thank
big
you.
guy I've known for some time. I don't really know anything about because you don't divulge, and Zahad really doesn't ask.
Yeah, and I think for you and me, we've been with each other for a little bit. So I think in our backstory, I think there's some previous episodes, you know, that weren't on the stream that we had delved into some more stuff. But you're right. I think I just don't know. I mean, it's the classic memory loss that all, you know, you lose your family as a D&D character, or you wake up and you lose your memory, and so you have this mysterious past. And so, yeah, I wish there was a way to somehow kind of explore that more. But each of us had mysteries that we didn't quite, you know.
I have an embarrassing question for you.
Yeah, I am anatomically correct. That is correct. That's what you're asking.
Not my question.
No, that's not. Go ahead.
Is in canon, as far as you think, is Emissary actually in love with Zahad's daughter?
Yes, he is. Yes, the weaponsmith, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Quillen.
Well, yeah. He sort of likes that. He liked the. I mean, the maid was always nice to him. In the very first episode, he brought like the bakery or something, the cupcake to her. But yeah, he likes to hang out with Quillen though. Yeah, he's a big. He probably doesn't know how to express that at all. But yeah.
I don't think Quillen I have very little information about her. Maybe she'll come up in the future.
They're just they're really very close friends. I think because she just doesn't think of him that way. I don't think, but he helps her make her stuff and stuff. Yeah, it would be fun to have gone back and to explore your whole family. I mean, there's so much you could have done with this with the characters. Yeah.
Oh, we lost Corey again. He's down number 2. I'm at 3. Jess is at 1. Michael's at 2. I'm just keeping the score now.
Yeah. And then next question for you, Emissary, since you're just joining us.
Sure.
What was the first thing that surprised you in this part of the campaign?
What did surprise me? Oh goodness gracious. That is a good surprise. I mean, the Horizon Walker is so interesting. I thought that was kind of cool to see played such a huge role with Jess's character and whatnot. Surprise though, I'm trying to think. Good question. Melt not having a room. His parents made it to a Pilates room. That was surprising, but
yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, the Sphinx. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting the Sphinx.
I hadn't gotten there yet.
Oh, so yeah.
We just got to the reveal of.
Yeah. Well, I think. What and do we talk about? I mean, Kieran's face, but that was probably the biggest thing. I honestly with characters when they have to leave the show or when players have to leave a campaign. Yeah, sometimes they just kind of fade to the background, but I don't know if it was always meant that way. But man, that was a big reveal that he's at least the face of the bad guy. This sticker on, he's Kieran. So that was probably the biggest thing. Like what's going on here? That was probably the most surprising. But yeah, I think that
what a bad guy can do is resurrect a dead good guy.
Yeah. And it's from the first campaign. Was it Zox? Was that the guy, the court mage of Nueva? Was that the green robe? Okay. And it was Zikron this time, right? Zikron. Okay.
Another Z name. Huh.
I think Zox is XOXO, right?
Was it X?
I think it's X.
Oh, man. I was thinking I was onto something.
And Zahad is
looking out for somebody with Y, I guess.
Oh, my God. My next character's name will start with a Y now. It'll be great. It'll be fine.
Yeah. No. But we just talked about the fact of simple. Will you mute? Sorry, I was getting an echo. Talked about back in part 1, the first temple you guys went to, the statues in front to get in. How many were there? There were 3. It was Eri, Orochi, and a third one.
Interesting.
And then it was actually your character that did the religion check of all the deity symbols and noticed there was an extra one.
Got it. Yes.
Didn't recognize it.
And that's what we saw. Oh, we don't know the name of we don't know the name of that third of the new sibling, do we? Was it revealed already? I forget.
Pretty sure it was revealed in part 1.
Okay. I'll look back at my notes and see. Yeah.
I don't think that it was a big reveal.
Because it was this is just strange stuff on the wall, and we were just Well, I remember.
I'm pretty sure it was in a monologue.
Okay. I remember being in that room and seeing all the symbols and making that check and stuff. Yeah. But it was at the same. It was okay, we have this new information, but
we didn't really know what to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Septimus.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought Septimus was super smart, and then here's the Zahad who gets 30s on all his rolls. There's Melt who's reading books out the wazoo. It's I'm the dumb stepchild of the.
Is a specialized kind of intelligence, and to quote the Lemon who was in our session a couple times ago, the little Zahadlings in his mind. Genius name for the Zahadlings, by the way. But I think of that as how all of his information is broken up. As it's a classic what's
it's the Inside Out movie. It's the
No,
Inside
no,
Out
no, no,
movie
no.
where they have all the emotions in the
No, the
segments.
Stephen King movie. Excuse me.
Hmm.
Dreamcatcher.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have seen that. Yeah.
Horror movie. It's
Mhm.
awesome.
Okay.
Lots of little Zahads that all have different filing cabinets full of knowledge.
Hmm.
So many levers to pull. Only levers.
Levers that open doors and windows and file cabinets.
Hmm
And it's the Scooby Doo file cabinet that goes on for forever
Yeah, of course.
when it opens. Yeah.
We got 4-dimensional filing cabinets here. It's
Uh-huh.
crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then so you guys get the reveal from Aerie. And then everybody goes on basically a journey of self-discovery, except for Zahad, who sits at the pool.
This is a great time.
How did that feel for those that went on that journey as you were going through it? I'm going to start with Simple on this one because I think hers hit the hardest.
I mean, she was willing to go with the flow, very much trusted the process, the gods work in mysterious ways. Like, yeah, we're in this maze and we're slowly getting separated. I'm not going to panic. This is fine. We're in a god's domain. Nothing irreparably bad will happen here. And then she gets to that first step to her trial and is like, gut punch. Like, she knew it was coming because what else could it have been for her? And just the being forced to grapple with her own self-worth. Like, I feel like everybody gets that imposter syndrome from time to time, but just the society she was raised in, the person she was raised to be, and that she is valid and perfect the way that she is, like, was really, that's the arc I wanted for her, and I'm really happy that it happened, because she wasn't going to get there on her own, not for a hot minute. So I was happy with it.
Oh, how about you?
I think his was having a hard time grasping what is it that, like, yeah, in the maze, and it's just like I'm lost. Like, I'm lost and I can't figure out how to get out of it, and what am I trying? What's trying to be like imparted? What's the lesson here? What's the grand takeaway?
Do you remember your grand takeaway?
That, if I have to look at my notes to be completely sure, but I believe like the grand takeaway is like just telling the story.
Yeah, the thing that I wanted to impart with you is knowledge combats fear.
Yeah. Yes.
Classic.
You know, it's very much, you chose Sidu as your deity that you worshipped as a cleric, and that is his shtick. That is why he is knowledge. You know, so each of those represented an initial thing that Kira Kong didn't understand.
Yeah.
And each one had to combat it in a different way, and that is how Sidu did. And then Murphy, yours was a little bit different with everything. You got chosen. How was that to become essentially the first?
Well, the opportunity presented itself, and I couldn't let pass it up. So that was put on the table. I like out of character, like, oh, somebody's got to take this.
Yeah,
It'd be even funnier if it was Murphy.
I
Um,
really
just
thought
'cause
about
it's-
doing it.
Oh,
It's so out of. I mainly did it because it's the opposite of what you would expect from that character, and it felt like a really good point in the story to really kind of mix stuff up.
Yeah.
And besides, I didn't know if I was gonna get another chance to play Paladin in the future
Right.
or not. So
No, definitely. And of all the characters, someone who already kind of worshipped Aerie, as being the father of druids, to be called,
the Druid, the Druid.
to
Mhm.
be the paladin, to be his
Yeah.
champion, I thought was very fitting.
Was it-
And I posed it to everybody. I didn't just pick one person, so everybody had that option at that point. Gave everybody the choice.
You're the Oath of the Ancients, right? You stick with like the Druid kind of,
Yeah.
perfect for that, yeah.
No, definitely. And then the other change that transpired during that is Teardrop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Forsaking everything she had been to follow this path set before her, as Zahad had drug her here.
You drugged
essentially.
her? What?
Yes, with my masculinity. Ugh.
No, she was running away from a proposed engagement,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
and Zahad presented himself, and they went down together.
And I
for
remember
this.
Zahad couldn't get in normally.
Mhm.
I couldn't pass through the gate. I had to cheat in, and then I took a bunch of psychic damage. That was great.
Yeah.
The reason being, the whole area had sanctuary cast on it, not sanctuary, hollow, so that things were not allowed entry,
Yeah.
i.e., elementals, fiends, fays, all of
If I
those
remember right,
things.
I was really close to dying to that.
And so you guys kind of had to do some special things in order to get in. No, the thing that you guys almost died to, Zahad, was the 3-part test from the temple as you go down. There are 3 questions asked to you as you walk down the first time.
So you came down by yourself, didn't you?
It was him and
Yeah.
Teardrop.
Mhm.
And so everybody else had those same questions, and it's basically just it's the way of mercy. It's the tenets of the way of mercy, which that is a monk school, and that is secret monk temple of the way of mercy,
Yeah.
where people go to learn that path. But yeah, no, that was definitely the big reveal, and getting to see your second deity for Simple. The rest of you, first time you see a deity in front of you. How did that resonate with your character? Zahad, yeah, go for it.
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah.
man. Overwhelmed and feeling of humility, right? But then it almost felt like almost normal to him because of naturally his lineage.
Mhm.
Like extremely, I mean, a deity being in front of you is I mean, people can die of shock of lesser things, right? Zahad didn't blink.
Right.
But still, I remember I got on my knees, like bowed.
Right.
But still, oof.
Melt, how did what feel in that moment?
It was very much a big deal, but it wasn't necessarily like he'd always had like the little encounters with Sidu and that, so that may have dulled him a little bit to it, but it's still like, holy jeez, this is like in the flesh, like not in the typical dreamland that he's used to. So it did leave like a bit of an impression. It's like, this is like a very important spot, and like he gave rise the idea of why it had been kept a secret and no one really knew about it.
Murphy getting to see the father of druids in the flesh.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially since he'd already like had the vision of Nylea before, so Aerie being like the second god to present themselves. It's just, I think that really kind of cemented the weight of everything we're involved in. Like this is, I mean, there's not one deity, but two deities now being like presenting themselves to us. Even just that Murphy knew of. Just made it kind of drove home to Murphy like how serious everything is, and then I think that also factored into his decision to becoming a paladin. Just because, like, hey, something's about to go down. We need some big guns.
Right, and the fact of a deity physically calling you to be his champion. You know,
Yeah.
I know in D&D lore that's what it is. You're called to be the champion of a god, but I think it feels a little different when it's to your face in character going
during the
I
game.
need a champion during the game.
It's like, oh geez.
Yeah.
Emissary, how did you feel?
Yeah, I think Emissary, he has emotions, but they're but at the same time he's very pragmatic. So I think he sees the deity, it registers maybe a light that goes on in the back of his head that this is a new deity. So he classifies it, and this is a new experience. So he puts it in its place, and now it's data that he can refer to. But I think he saw Zahad. I think he might have even kneeled like Zahad. I can't remember. He might have done what Zahad did. Just he mimicked him. But I think the feeling was that yes, this is a new deity. This is important. I will classify it as such. And there we go. And now I'm going to go on. But I now have this new information. So he was very much still a warforged. I mean, emotions, but he's very pragmatic, I think.
Simple. I mean, this is the second deity. I mean, you had the most interactions with a deity of anybody due to being a warlock to the time deity. Orochi. How did it feel to meet his brother?
I mean, Nasara had grown up with Orochi, so like friend's brother. Hi, I mean, like he's a god, so like all powerful, all inspiring, blah 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 blah. But like not as impressive as Orochi though. So just I don't know. She felt he was very forward with the whole "I need a champion. It could be you," and she's like, "No, no, it couldn't. Read the room, buddy." But I mean, other than that, I guess maybe a little disappointed that he didn't know more about what was going on, because like Orochi is like the whole mysterious ways and not letting on too much information one way or the other is like his whole shtick. But she was hoping that maybe Aerie would be more forthcoming with information, and then it turns out, oh, he just doesn't know, and I'm like, oh, well, great. So,
how does that make you guys feel that a deity in this world doesn't know what's coming?
Ungood.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it was surprising. It was surprising.
Yeah. No, that's definitely one thing about the gods that I created here is I didn't want that full all-knowing, all-powerful. This is more of
there's an upper entity.
Yeah, I wanted more of kind of that Greek Roman. There is someone who knows. Orochi, if you were to take from Norse, is like Odin. He knows, but he ain't saying anything. From that kind of standpoint. And so it's just kind of different, and a lot of times to have somebody who is, this deity, somebody who's, reveled and worshipped, and to hear him go, I don't know what's coming. I'm preparing because something's coming, but I don't really know what's on the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good feeling.
Yeah.
And then how did you enjoy the Owlkin?
Okay.
Oh.
Boo.
Zahad's favorite.
He was a choice.
Boo. Cooked bird. Rations.
To be fair, we had just rewatched Atlantis before that episode,
Okay.
and so I was trying to emulate the exploding
The
guy,
mole?
the expert, the mole man. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No. The mole is not the demolitions expert. Completely different person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vinny's
I
the
got it.
demolition expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The owl didn't give you the vibes of flower salesman. Well, I don't know. A touch annoying, but I mean, a silly, cute character in the other side of the world that is by themselves. Nice.
Maybe there were people around. He still had a village. There were people around him. He just the one home you went into, was his.
He was the main contact. Yeah.
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 And then the last, basically 3 parts of this campaign. Meeting the Sphinx. You guys kind of went to an interesting point with the Sphinx of wanting to create your own secret society. Tell me a little bit about that idea, how it transpired, and why.
I mean, it was the culmination of like, this is the end of our path. We found the thing that could be one of the reasons why we know things are getting worse. This is like the reason why Zahad started this whole thing is that, hey, things are getting sketchy. I want to fix it or get to know more about it because I'm not getting any information. If I get that information, I can make all the mega cities of the world work together. Wow, what a cool idea. Oh, that's a gate that leads to the thing? Oh! It's guarded by
Very tired old Sphinx. Yeah, he was.
a Sphinx who has lost themselves almost.
Yeah.
Not great feeling. Not great feeling.
Not a great
Yeah.
feeling.
It's not inspire confidence.
Does not inspire confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's something that's going to happen in the world, it's going to happen here. Right? Like this is the bad place.
Nah.
I don't know, it just seems important and it seems worthy to prepare and guard. Right?
Yeah, no, fair point. Just was curious about it. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, you laid out those clues, for us to find the Sphinx. Did you think we would find it? I mean, before or after? Because it looks. I mean, the dragon went back there afterwards. Would you prefer us to find it beforehand? Not that you don't have to give away the secret sauce, but but it didn't really matter. I guess we probably would have found it eventually. Come back around at a
Yeah. I mean, I had an idea about that. I didn't know what I was going to put in there.
Yeah.
And then Zahad rolled freaking phenomenal, and I'm like, oh crap, I now have to actually choose this thing. And we talked a little bit earlier about this. Like, I think of things that you're going to do, and know paths kind of you're going to go on, but not necessarily thinking, oh, I need to make sure I have this NPC ready to go for when they get there. And then it was like, so I was giving clues about things, and then I was like, oh, I've got to find somebody that actually fits that description. And
I can tell you everything it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and then had to explain why that was the case with him. These things are immortal beings that aren't out in the open. They don't, it's not like dragons that everybody sees from time to time, or this is another knowledge gatherer that usually is sequestered, and that's the lore that has always been around those. You know, the question giver, the riddler. They're not somebody usually you encounter just on a whim.
Yeah.
And so that it kind of fit perfectly in there once we'd gotten through it all with it. And I was like, once I found it, I was like, perfect.
So even the creature, so the Sphinx was not, you didn't even, I mean, you had to think about like what even kind of creature I see. You knew there was a guardian, but hadn't I see.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And I knew it was in this general area, you know, and so I didn't know necessarily that you were going to go that direction. But that's where you headed. And so instead of going more towards the layer to begin with, you know, or staying where you were fighting, you know, because you could have stayed and waited to see if he came back the next night.
Yeah, that's true. True, yeah.
You know, and from those standpoints, those are important things to know and to think through, and it just didn't happen. How did you feel about discovering that the guy behind everything had been in your town, Zahad? And manipulated things.
You're talking smack
During the whole time I was calculating distances and judging like damage ratios. Is it worth it to fireball him? I mean, why not? But like most I could do is 12 because he'll make a save. I didn't like him in any way, shape, or form. And I am glad that we killed him. Or him. Because it was just another copy, right? Made me very upset that someone would do something so vile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, definitely. They took something that you had done out of love and trying to help and twisted it.
Yeah.
And had done it without your knowledge to it even. You know? I mean, you were out here looking in the world for this great evil, and it'd been under your nose for some time too.
Not fair. Bad.
Not fair.
Stinky.
Yeah. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, just the machinations of like the cult that's trying to birth a new god, and it's a little bit of the like these are the people that are just trying to sow chaos.
No, go ahead. Sorry, okay.
Trying to sow chaos into what's currently going on to make the world what they think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And just the ramifications that come of that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, any other questions for anybody or for me over anything that happened?
We're totally ending our campaign with us creating the secret order to guard over that door. Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna make a time portal to bring future
so next campaign
back.
So next campaign we're far enough in the future, whatever. Yeah. That's totally a thing in that part of the world now.
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah.
I mean, like full hidden invisible keep, covered in like wards and runes. What's the cleric spell that makes the domain that they have? That one, we get the druid spell, we layer it. We make this the spot.
Yeah, there's bastions in the 2024
yes
Dungeon Master Guide now.
Really?
So, yeah, you can make that now. Yeah.
Yes.
That's ours.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So last thing I have for you. So you now have 2 characters in your pool. If you had to pick right now, who you playing?
Buster. I love Zahad.
Mhm.
Buster's a hero.
Just
Zahad, he deserves to sit in a chair.
It's fair. I would probably go with Melt.
Ooh.
Okay. Why?
His story isn't done, right?
The story isn't done, and I feel like I resonated a little bit more with this character than with Tempest.
Okay.
And I don't know that I can necessarily put that to like a tangible,
Understood.
but it just felt like it clicked a little bit more.
No, that's perfectly fair. Perfectly fair. Tim.
Yeah, I mean they're both very different. I think if I would maybe at this point in time still choose Septimus, but only if Nassar was there because he doesn't worship Orochi, but he could because he's like a time wizard. He's a chronology
Ooh,
wizard.
that's
So that
very
would
true.
So that would be, and if he met Nassara, he would be really kind of drawn, and he would probably, that faith of his would be, he has Sidu and he has Kratanta, but he would be drawn, I think, to that quite a bit
That's cool.
as he learned more. So,
Mhm.
but I like Emissary just killing stuff too. That's always
Barbarians
Hey,
are
yo,
so much fun.
Big
They're
guy
just
with
fun.
big
I know.
hammer, everything's
Yeah.
a nail, man.
That's pretty
Yep.
awesome. But I have to think about it some more.
And Simple. What about for you?
It's a really hard choice. I really love Brad, and I'm right there with you, Colin. I think Brad is, well, Brad wants to be a hero more than anything. But Nisara was bred to be a hero, so it could really go either way. I would lean more Nisara just because there's still so much she wants to do. She's so invested. We have to figure out like what happens to Kelabumig, and she just, I mean, but I could also see her, locking arms with Zahad and being like, we are sitting on this. This is our node now. No one can make us leave.
Uh-huh.
So I guess it depends on those conversations, because I would like to see the end game I had in mind for her.
Mhm.
But
No, like I told you before, she's getting her spell that she wants.
so I'm just 5 baby dragons in a rift between the world and nothing. What could possibly go wrong? But I had so much fun with Brad. I mean, I had so much fun with Nassara too. But I'm really torn. I don't know. It's a really really tough choice.
What about you, Corey?
Man, I'd probably have to go Murphy just because Paladin is being the first Paladin. That's a big
Yeah,
deal.
that's
So
pretty cool.
I mean, you kind of have to. That's kind of part of the reason why he went that direction anyway. is 'cause
Hey,
he's
you could
preparing
be the
for
first
big-
one. You could rename the class into a Murphy.
I
Yeah,
Just
could.
call it
it's the
Murphy.
Murphy class.
Be a Murphy man. If you want to be a Murphy man like me. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a wizard, cleric, bard, a Murphy.
Murphy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's what it should be called. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, awesome. Well, I hope you guys had fun with part 2. I know it ended kind of abruptly, but you guys had told the part of the story that we needed to tell with this part. So those characters are now in your pool as we go into part 3. And we'll be going on to the story in Kelabumig here in a couple weeks. So we'll get to see what transpired and what happened there. So yeah, so I look forward to it. As we said, nothing next week, from a streaming perspective. So everybody have a wonderful 4th. Be safe. We'll see you on the other side. All right. For Part 3 in Calabumig. And until next time, I hope all your games are as filled with as much shenanigans as ours are. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody.
Hello, Meg.
I'm gonna play a slug character.